heard the former baseball player Bobby Bonilla is getting paid $1 million a year from the New York Mets, even though he's been retired since 2001.
On July 1st, a 63-year-old man who has not taken a major league at-bat since 2001 will receive a check for $1,193,248.20.
Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. That is the scoop. Today, July 1st, is the day that every single year the New York Mets, based upon one of the craziest buyouts and craziest contractual clauses in the history of sports, have to pay Bobby Bonilla the sum total of about $1.2 million, as they agreed back in 2000 to buy out the remaining $6 million on his contract.
From a team he last played for in 1999, he will receive that exact check on that exact date every single year until 2035. His name is Bobby Bonilla. His contract is the most famous in baseball, and not for anything he did with a bat. It's famous because of what his agent did with a pen.
In the initial stages of negotiation of a deferred contract, tends to be the person holding the liquid, holding the asset.
They wanted to use the money so they could sign other players and become more competitive. I remember presenting it to Bonilla in the very beginning because we talked about deferring money.
How about I don't pay you the millions of dollars, the $3 million I owe you now. I'll pay it to you in 15 years. We'll negotiate an interest rate, but I'd like to have that $3 million on hand to do something else with it.
Fans treat it as the dumbest deal in sports history. They have it exactly backwards. The trick inside this contract is now the single most powerful loophole in the game, and the richest team in baseball just used it to hide $680 million. Rewind to 2000. The Mets want Bonilla gone. His play has fallen off a cliff, but they still owe him $5.9 million. Normally, you cut the check and move on. Instead, Bonilla's agent, Dennis Gilbert, offers a deal. Don't pay us now, defer it. Pay it later with interest.
Bobby got it, and he liked the idea of deferring money. He saw it as a win-win.
When you defer money in a contract, you're taking what is the principal, which is how much the player is owed, and you spread it out over a number of years. And you pay an interest rate on that money so that there's a certain present day value of the money. And that's how $5.9 million becomes $29.8 million over 25 years.
Well, the higher the interest rate, the more money the player will receive.
8% a year, spread across 25 years, starting in 2011 and ending in 2035. By the time it's done, that $5.9 million will have grown to nearly $30 million. And the Mets said yes. Why would any team agree to turn a $6 million bill into a $30 million one? Because of who the owner was banking with. Fred Wilpon believed he was earning around 10% a year on his investments. So paying 8% to delay Bonilla looked like free money. The problem? The man managing those investments was Bernie Madoff. The returns weren't real. The Mets had agreed to the most mocked contract in baseball history by betting a buyout on the largest Ponzi scheme ever run. Here's the part the joke misses. For Bonilla, this was brilliant. He turned a $6 million payout he'd have spent and taxed years ago into a guaranteed $30 million annuity that pays him into his 70s. He's said as much. He calls July 1st a beautiful thing, a reminder he did the right thing by putting the money away. And deferring money isn't a gimmick. It's a legitimate, powerful financial tool, a way to move a cost into the future and free up cash today.
You know what? I just was very thankful for the opportunity to play. There's never a day that goes by that I'm not thankful for the privilege to play the great game of baseball. I had a blast playing. And I was very fortunate to be able to put something together with Dennis Gilbert that paid me a little longer. And I was able to weather some storms, and it was a great move on our part.
So what's the advice that you would give to someone else if they ever find themselves in the unique place that you were at?
Well, you know, my advice to young players is to make sure you surround yourself with great people. And it's going to take your due diligence to make sure you do a little homework.
Which is exactly why 25 years later, the smartest front offices in baseball stopped laughing at Bobby Bonilla and started copying him. Because deferral does one more thing, something the Mets weren't even trying to do in 2000. It can shrink your luxury tax bill. Baseball taxes the richest teams on their payroll, but it counts the present-day value of a contract, not the cash. So, if you push the money far enough into the future, the number on the tax books shrinks. Watch the Dodgers do it. They signed Shohei Ohtani for $700 million and deferred $680 million of it. They pay him just $2 million a year now. The real money, $68 million a year, doesn't start until 2034. And because of that, his hit on the Dodgers' luxury tax books isn't $70 million, it's around $46.
Shohei Ohtani's $700 million contract calls for him to be paid only $2 million a year for the next 10 seasons, with $680 million deferred until the end of the deal, sources confirmed to ESPN. This provides a huge discount for LA with a competitive balance tax, or money owed by teams who go over the payroll.
They did the same with Rafael Devers' deal in Boston, with $75 million deferred. The Orioles owe Chris Davis $59 million, stretching to 2037, for a player who last appeared in 2020.
Who you are is not defined by how much money you make, what you do. Who you are is where you were raised, it's your family, it's your core values, and I don't think that any amount of money could change that. That being said, I do understand the commitment that was made, and to me, it's actually a flattering, more humbling gesture that the Orioles decided to make this kind of commitment to me, and it really motivates me to work that much harder, to do everything I can to show them that their faith was well placed.
Bonilla's buyout was an accident of a desperate owner and a crooked investor. The Dodgers turned the exact same mechanism into a competitive weapon, a legal way to spend more than anyone while showing less on the books. And here's the poetry. Ohtani's first $68 million check lands on July 1st, 2034. 1 year before Bonilla's very last one in 2035. The torch passes on the same date.
Of the $70 million, if he were to get paid $70 million per year, in the state of California after taxes, he would have got like 34.8.
That's insanity.
34.8
No, sir.
million.
No, sir.
35 million would have went back to
I need all that.
the government.
So, every July 1st, baseball laughs at Bobby Bonilla. The truth is, they should be studying him. The contract everyone calls the dumbest in sports quietly became the template for how the wealthiest teams move hundreds of millions past the only rule meant to slow them down. It was never a joke, it was the fine print. 25 years early. We read the contracts, you enjoy the game. This is Diamond Empire.